Hi, everybody. Roland, thanks for having me. And this is fun. I'll give you a quick bio. I went to art school and got out of art school and realized that I just wasn't a good enough artist to start for the rest of my life. And I had no idea what to do next. And there was this thought at the time that people who are artists and musicians, I'm a musician, artists and musicians make great programmers. This was the thinking back in the late 70s. So I ended up being a programmer.
You're listening to Business Lunch with Roland Frasier. This is your seat at the table.
I jumped out of the corporate world after a couple of years. I realized I was never going to get to run General Electric. So I ended up starting a software company. And as most software companies start, I was doing consulting. I ended up consulting for a lot of banks, and somewhere along the way started writing software for those banks. And my clients ran some of the largest banks in the world. My business was automating European and Asian banks' foreign branch networks. So this was very simple, kind of low transaction volume, very high complexity. And I got skill in understanding international banking and understanding how to figure out what people were up to. Right. I don't know if you've had this experience, but people who really know their businesses are usually terrible at explaining it. And so when they have a problem, they can't really tell you what it is because they just figure everybody should understand this stuff. So I got good at translating, and I got good at understanding what their trading problems were and their financial problems were and what their problems with their portfolios were, and got good at communicating. This is probably like the best skill I have, which is communicating with the upper echelon of anything and getting them to understand really complicated stuff without making them feel stupid for not understanding it before. And that's a big thing in its day. And I don't think it's changed at all. Technology people like to flaunt their depth of understanding with people who are running big companies because they go like, wow, I have something over on them. Right. So there's an art to getting people to understand things without having them feel like they were less than before they understood them. So I made my career doing that. Sold my first software company, started another one, ultimately flipped that to a large German bank, and realized that there were other things in the world besides writing software. I moved into strategy, and I did strategic consulting and market research for some of the largest technology firms in the US. Did that for a few years. It was a job. It was incredibly rewarding. It paid well. I traveled all over. I was dealing with smart people, and it had everything except I was like, oh, I don't really care about these companies. I found out that you could help Cisco make an extra $100 million or help IBM save $500 million, and nobody really cared. Like nobody's life was transformed from it. And I had this epiphany one day that my people were entrepreneurs and that I had amassed a skill set that might be valuable. And in the mid 90s, I started doing business coaching. It didn't really exist at the time. And it was like the perfect thing. So I've been consulting with entrepreneurs, small businesses, startups in kind of every shape and form since the middle 90s. My focus is growth. I mean, it's probably every focus. If you look at it, it's like every consultant focuses on growth some way or another, but I don't really care about personnel problems. I don't really do that much about tax problems. There's a lot of things I don't know how to do, but what I'm good at is figuring out how to enhance the revenue side of a business. I walk into clients and I tell them, I don't really care about your expense lines. It's of no interest to me at all, unless you're going broke. And if you're going broke, you probably can't afford me. But if you've managed to hire me, yeah, okay, we can look at your expenses because we've got to keep you going long enough to help you make money. But my focus is strictly on the revenue side, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's products, pricing, packaging. Those are the things that I have built my work on. And it's the thing I help most people with. Somewhere along the way, I started doing M&A work. And I've written a lot of PPMs. I worked with a couple of investment banks who would send me their clients when they weren't big enough. And then we flipped that around and I started consulting on, because the real issue in selling a business, the real issue in buying a business is not that we want to buy it or we want to sell it, and not how much revenue there is, but what the multiple is. And if you can negotiate the multiple, you can negotiate the value of that company, either up or down, depending on which side of the house that you're on. And so I got really good at negotiating what the multiple should be, based on the industry, but more based on the velocity and the trajectory, what the period to pay back is going to be, and things like that. So a lot of people approach acquisition as if the money were the most important thing. And for some people it is. But for a lot of business owners who put their life's work into this thing that you're now trying to buy, they have a great concern that the business will be taken care of. And I know that sounds weird, because a lot of us, especially if you're new at acquisition, you think, well, who cares? They just want the money and then they're out. It's just not true. The money is great, but their legacy matters for many people just as much. So they don't want to sell their business to somebody who they believe is going to screw it up. And if you haven't proven that you know how to take care of their business, then the presumption is you're going to screw it up because you don't understand. Everybody has this sense. This is important. Everybody has this sense that what they're doing is special. Everybody thinks what they do is special. And it might not be that special. All businesses are more alike than they are different. And any two businesses which are manufacturing businesses are much more alike than they are different. Any two service businesses are much more alike than they are different. So the seller thinks that what they've got is unique and special. Ideally, you do too. That's why you're buying it. But you need to demonstrate to the seller that you're going to take care of the thing. So you asked me, what's the most important thing to focus on, or what business you should focus on? I'd say the ones where you have an edge, where you have an experience edge.